then the last thing that I did, and you know, I feel like this really comes down to like your personality. It's like, what do you do throughout the year, like basically on a daily basis? Is there a particular app that you use? What is it? For me, I put everything into notes. I write everything down into notes, be it my to-do list, be it inspirations I have for my business, be it any kind of post that I did this year on Facebook, Instagram, everything is in there. If I'm listening to an inspiring speaker and I want to take notes, you know, any kind of quote or anything they said, I write it in my notes. If I'm reading a book and there's something inspiring, I put it down in my notes. So then what did I do? I looked at, well, I haven't through all of them. There are a lot of notes. I took a lot of notes this year. But even just like scanning through them and even just like seeing like the first couple of words or like the titles of each note kind of jogged my memory of like, what have I been up to this year? What have I been thinking about? What kind of authors or speakers did I come across this year that I hadn't before? You know, what were my inspirations? What were the aha moments that I came to this year? And oh my gosh, it just really put things into perspective for me of like, there were so many things that went well this year. And even though I haven't progressed near as much as I wanted to with my business, I have progressed as who I am. The person that I am becoming has progressed a lot, even in terms of skills and business and mindset and motivation. I have progressed so much clarity, right? Clarity of what I want to teach and who I want to teach it to and how I will go about it. So many things that have changed for me and I have worked on this year. So what is it for you? How do you take stock? And that's kind of a harsh word, I would say, harsh expression, but how do you kind of do this year-end review and kind of decide what went on this year? What was good? What did inspire me? What new things came across my path that I want to like remember and bring into this next year, right? So then that is the very next step, right? Now think about the year ahead, my 2024, because part of why I was in such a funk was I was scared. I was like, if this is how I'm feeling about my 2023, I'm going to bring this energy right into 2024 and forget the first couple of months. You know, they're already like down under, they're gone because I am starting with such an attitude, right? Like the first couple of months, I feel like are always kind of the hardest. It's winter, it's dark, it's cold. Just like getting that movement, that momentum going is really hard. Our motivation is usually down, you know. I know I always fall into a little bit of a hole after the holidays are over. I've just spent a wonderful time with my family, and now it's almost like shifting gears, right? As a highly sensitive, change is difficult. You know, it's not so easy. And for me to go from being around a lot of people and having my kid around a lot of people and then managing his emotions, going back to basically an empty apartment with 2 cats, and then me going through that emotion of like, oh my gosh, now I'm returning to real life where I have to make it happen, right? Where I need to live real life, where I need to make money, where I have to progress in my business. I know that there's always a kind of a down feeling when I'm trying to shift into that. And so I wanted to set something in motion to where I already have that momentum that will then carry me a little bit more gracefully over that. Let me know if you can relate to that, if you kind of fall into these holiday blues, if you fall into these like, you know, year end kind of blues or into like the new beginning. How is it for you this time, especially as a highly sensitive? And yes, let's talk about that next year, 2024. What is it that you want? You know, I feel like that is the best that I can take from my 2023 in these areas where I feel like, oh man, I didn't accomplish what I wanted. I feel down about this. Can I take that and say, okay, what is it that I now want for my 2024? What have I learned? What have I gained? What can I set in motion so that next year I don't have to learn these lessons again? then I'm like, yes, I have learned that lesson. I'm going to approach things differently so that I can incorporate that and not have to learn that lesson again, because that's just, for me, it feels like a waste of time and difficult emotions. So I don't want to do that again. So what is it that you want for your 2024? And once again, I would pick those 7 key areas and say, okay, 7 key areas. I can write 1, 2, 3 things for all of these 7 key areas. Or if that's too overwhelming, pick 1 or 2. Pick 2 areas, write things down. Really, the first like 1 to 3 months, I would really say pick 1 or 2 things that you're going to be focusing on. Otherwise, it's just too much. And I get it. I feel like that is the toughest thing about life these days, that it moves so fast. And you feel like you have to keep all the plates spinning, right? I can't totally neglect my health, because if I totally neglect health, yeah, I'm going to be feeling it, especially as a highly sensitive. I'm going to be feeling it very quickly. And when I don't have my health, then I can't work on my business. I can't be there as a mom. I can't, do all these other things. So I get it. But I feel like there is a difference between like a baseline, like what do I need to do just to like coast, just to like have my things set up. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a walk every day for 20 minutes, or do my yoga, do my meditation. Have your baseline of all these things, and then have 1 or 2 things where you're like, these are the things I'm going to take and run. These are the 2 things that I want to progress in. These are the 2 things that I really want to hone in, focus on, and really make it happen. Is that your relationship, right? That's one of them that I could pick. For me, it's like, okay, time to kind of get back in the game. I really want to find a wonderful father for my kid. And I want that. Oh my God, I have wanted that fulfilling, blissful, amazing. I always have your back kind of partner since I've been 14 years old. And I would say I've found it in a couple of partners, but nothing that ever lasted because of me or because of him. And I want that relationship so much. So that is definitely one thing that I could focus on. And when I mean focus, it's like, do the mental, emotional work, do the visualization, do the meditation, read books, listen to audios, YouTube videos, whatever you have to take, do the hard work, right? Get on a dating site or decide where you might possibly meet this person. How do I get myself ready for that kind of relationship? Have I worked through everything I needed to work through? That is what I mean with it, like picking something and then seeing it through. And I would say daily, there has to be at least 15 to 30 minutes daily that you're going to dedicate to this one thing in your life that you want to progress in, right? For me, just because I'm a single mom and my bank account really needs it, I'm going to have to focus on my business, right? The first 2-3 months that I'm taking off the new year, I'm really going to focus on business. I'm going to take everything from 2023 that I feel like I failed at, that I feel like I did not bring to as much completion as I wanted to in 2023, right? It's almost like I almost got there and then let it go, and I almost got there and then I let it go, and then I almost got there and I let it go. And for me, I think the hardest part, and I wonder if that's because of being highly sensitive, right? We get bored easily. And so when we feel like we've almost got it mastered, then the momentum isn't there anymore. The like excitement isn't there anymore. And then it feels more like drudgery. And then it's very easy to just like let it go by the wayside, right? Or for me, a lot of times it's so much about like, well, I figured this out intellectually. I get it. I understand it. I've written about it. Oh my God, do I have stacks of papers everywhere where I've documented and written everything down. Taking action is the hard part for me, like actually putting it into action, right? And I did on some things. I did build, a new website on a totally new platform, which was really hard for me, but I did it, right? But I want to do more of these things, of taking action on things that I have set myself up for, right? I'm going to utilize what I did in 2023 and just use that to create that momentum to be like, yes, Now is the time to implement it. Now is the time to move forward on this. So what I want from you, and if you feel good about sharing it, I feel like this would be an amazing video to look back on a year from now. If you want to put in the comments, what is it that you want for this year 2024, and what is the first thing you're going to focus on the first 3 months? What is it that you want? And then make sure, well, I would say that's enough for the comments. I was about to say write down why, but that's really more for you, right? You can add that in the comments, but the big thing is what, right? What are you committing yourself to? And then for yourself, it would be like connecting with that mission, with that why, which is the next thing. Goodness, I've been talking a lot. I just, there's so many inspirations that come, that flow. I hope you're benefiting from this, from just me talking about what I've been feeling in my own life, so you can identify that in your own. So my big thing of why I felt like I've been dragging myself through these last couple of days and weeks is because I had forgotten my why, my vision, but also my mission of why I'm doing this. And as I was reviewing my notes from this past year, I came across one note fairly early on last year, like March, right? March 2023. That was like, this is my mission. This is why I'm doing this. And I always hear, right? It was, I mean, I must say, law of attraction, right? Because I had just listened to an audio this morning. Dean Graziosi, genius when it comes to marketing. He was talking about, you have to understand your mission. Go 7 layers deep with your mission, right? Ask yourself why 7 times, because the first 2, 3, 4 whys that come up, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this job? Why do I want to focus on my relationship getting better? More closely, more openly connecting with my partner. Why do I want to be a better mom to this kid? Why do I want to pursue this hobby? Why do I want to focus on my body, on my health, on my vitality? Why? It's like the first 2, 3, 4 things that come up, they're probably going to be more surfacey. But if you keep asking yourself why, it's going to be interesting what comes up. Really take your time. And I did this morning, and I was still kind of, I could write 7 things down, but I was like, I don't know if this is really it. I mean, I sort of, especially because I had done this exercise many times, and I was like, I kind of know my answer, but it wasn't giving me that feeling anymore. When you've really connected to your why, when you get that, when you get that relief, when you get that emotional reaction, when you get tears in your eyes, when you're just like, oh my God, okay, this is it. So I had done this exercise this morning, and I didn't really get to it. And then I kind of had to get into my morning and, prepping food, prepping breakfast, getting my kid up, all these things. And then later, I was on the Stairmaster. I was reading through my notes from last year, and here was my mission statement that I had put down last March, and it just hit me. I was like, oh yeah, this is what it is, right? This is what it is. And for me in my business, right, it seems a little far removed, because here I am, I'm an emotion coach, right? I want to help people with their emotions. Why do I want to do this? Because I have been down in the depths of despair. I have felt small. I have felt weak. I have felt insignificant. I have felt unworthy. I have felt really uninspired, is one of the hardest ones for me. I have felt apathetic. I have felt those things. I have felt even last week, I felt like I cannot rise to the challenges, to everything that this life is demanding of me right now. I don't feel like I can rise to that challenge. And that is the hardest feeling ever, especially when you are a single mom with your kid who depends on you for everything, and you feel like, I don't know if I can muster this. I don't know if I can manage this. I do not know if I can handle anything else that life is going to throw at me. So I have been there, And I'm still there at certain days, but I have found ways, I've found tools to help myself out of these emotions, right? They're reoccurring emotions, but what you get better at is lifting yourself out of. You get better at seeing this glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel, and then you know your direction, and you can get out of it so much more easily and quickly than before. So this is what I want to do, right? I want to help people to get their emotions under control, to learn and understand their emotions so much that they can lift themselves out of darkness and be here for themselves and live a much more fulfilling life. So that's already a good mission statement, right? But when I read this mission statement, I was like, oh yeah, I connect way more deeply about this. And you know what it's about? Really, for me? Ooh, I even get goosebumps even when I'm just talking about it. It's about kids. When I see little kids, or when I read or hear about little kids, because I'm so steeped into like psychology and everything, and I had just listened to this audiobook, and this woman was describing her childhood, and it just hurt my heart to hear what she had to go through. And I know that there are kids today who are struggling because they do not have parents who are emotionally available. They don't have parents who make them feel safe, who make them feel loved, who make them feel appreciated, who see them. And you know, if you don't even take like the worst of parents, even if you just take parents who are just struggling in everyday life right now, I'm struggling with my own emotions, I'm struggling with finances, I'm struggling in my life, and yet I'm trying to be here for my kid, and yet I get immediate feedback from my kid that hey, something's off, because then he all of a sudden is way more clingy, right? He is much less certain because he feels that I am much less certain. So for me, that big connection to that mission statement is always like, I want to be here to teach parents, right? To teach people how to handle their own emotions, how to consistently connect to happiness, to joy, to playfulness, to safety, to feeling that safety. How do we teach our kids to feel safe if we don't feel safe in the world? How can we teach our kids to feel happy if we are just putting on a smile and we don't feel that deep fulfillment that we really want for our kids? And gosh, when you hear it these days of like how many teenagers are depressed and anxious and suicidal, it breaks my heart. It is so hard to hear that and to know that in 10 years, this might be my kid. And it's like, what can I do? Not just for my kid, but for everybody, to help them to understand that this is so important. Your emotions matter, and what you do with them every single day matters. So when I read that mission statement of like, it's not just for me, it's not just for my kid, it's not just for the people that I'm trying to help, but it's for kids. It's for little kids. It's for teenagers. It's for kids to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel seen, right? Especially with my heart connecting to highly sensitive kids who sometimes have an even tougher time in this life because they are more sensitive to whatever is happening. And a lot of times they're much more misunderstood. A lot of times their parents don't understand what these kids really need. So let's be here. Let's inform ourselves. Let's shine that light. What is your mission? What is it that you connect to every single day? You know, is it a mission for your career? Is it a mission for the work you do? Is it a mission for, you know, your hobby? If you're painting and right now it's just your hobby, just your hobby. What is your mission with this? Even if you can just uplift one person, even if your mission during the day is just to say hello to more people, to shine your light brighter, to then hopefully have an effect on your environment, to lift them up. What is your mission? What is your mission as a parent? What is it that more than anything you want to convey to this kid or these kids every single day? Because if you connect to your mission, then you will have a reason that it's not hard to get out of bed for. It will pull you out of bed. It will be there inspiring you. It will be the shining light, right? I mean, just imagine the sunrise. Don't you want to walk towards that sunrise? Don't you know that glimmer of hope whenever you see the sun rising? It's a new day. It's a new day. This is how I want you to feel about your mission. You are bringing that light to you and to everyone around you. Here's another one. As a parent, you'll probably connect to this a lot, because a lot of times, I kind of get stuck in this, well, I want my kid to be happy. Oh my gosh, what have I done today? If you have a kid, you cannot make them happy. You can't make anybody happy. They're gonna have negative emotions, and I'm actually surprised at 5 years old how many times my kid will already be grumpy and in a down mood and negative about every single thing. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're still little. Aren't you supposed to still float in this joyousness of life? But it's just it's easy, right? I feel like he has not had the time and the knowledge to understand that it is a discipline to focus on the positive, to uplift your own emotions, right? He doesn't know yet how much it pulls others down to have negative emotions. And I'm glad that he feels safe enough to openly express these negative emotions. They're just really hard on me sometimes, especially as a highly sensitive, right? It is hard to take these emotions, and as much as I try as a parent to make him happy, to set everything else up, around him to encourage happiness, and yet he's like, I don't want to wait till Christmas to open my present. I want my present now. And I'm going to take this as the very reason why I'm going to be miserable for the next hour. It is so hard. And that's when I have to really remind myself, my mission as a parent isn't to make my kid happy, but to teach my kid resilience. If there's one thing that I can do for my kid, I want to teach him resilience, because I wish I would have had more of that as a kid and even as an adult, because that kind of brings us back full circle, right? I want my kid to be more resilient. Why? Because I know he's gonna have days like I had the last 14 days. He's gonna have days where he feels like life is hard. It is hard to get out of bed. I don't remember my reason why I'm doing this. Everything just seems to be drudgery. Everything is hard. He's gonna have a lot of moments throughout his life. And if all I'm teaching him is you're supposed to be happy, happiness will get you all these things. Happiness is great, right? For me, I learned happiness, the law of attraction. I've got to be happy. Otherwise, when I'm unhappy, I'm creating something that I'm not gonna like. Yes, happiness is important, but man, if I can teach my kid resilience, if I can teach my kid that no matter what is happening, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be able to find your way back out. You're gonna be okay. If I can teach my kid that, how to persevere through the tough times, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had that. I really do.